Hello, welcome to the showcase. My name is Sean Martin, if you didn't already know that, and I've got 45 years in the field of entertainment experience. I'm here to share with you some of the greatest talents and experience in Clubland. We do this by learning from each other. Please subscribe to my channel. This enables me to bring you great content like we've already got and more to come. Now, this next guest I've had the pleasure of meeting many times. Such a talented mother, and what can I say? Welcome, Ben Lourie.
Hi, Sean. How you going?
Fantastic, mate. Nice to talk to you again, because when I came home last year, we bumped into each other, and you, as a gentleman you are, always stopped and talk. You've got time for everybody, so thank you for that. So we're going to talk about Ben's career, and he sent me a resume. By God, it's a good one. So, how did you start, Ben?
So I got started when my dad had a flamenco guitar at home, and we used to have a professional, quite famous flamenco guitarist come and stay with us, Pepe Martinez. You can look him up. He's sadly died now, but he was up there with the great Spanish flamenco players, and I used to sit and just listen to this guy play the guitar at our house. And I wasn't big enough to hold the guitar, but I tried.
So do you think your influence started from that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I'm probably, 5 or 6 years old.
So you talk about flamenco guitar. Now, you're an absolutely master on the bass. When did you start playing bass, and why did you choose bass?
Well, basically, like I say, at the time, I wasn't physically big enough to get my arms around the guitar. I was a young child. So I got involved in other things. But then I was around about 11, 12 years old. I got my first bass. I just loved the sound of it, the deep sort of thudding sound of the bass, listening to a lot of Motown stuff and some blues, Hendrix, and some rock stuff as well, and just loved the sound of it. So I got a bass when I was 12.
And I think around that point, if I remember right, you met Bryn Abbott, yeah?
Yeah. So we hooked up at school, senior school, and we got chatting, and he had a guitar. I'd got a bass, and we said, right, we're gonna form a band, as you do.
Did that work out?
Well, yes and no. I mean, the band that we formed didn't get anywhere. We were just two young lads we were just learning. But we both went on to play, and we're still both playing today. In fact, we did a project a year or two ago with Kathy Brown, who's a famous American house artist. So that was how Bryn and I played together, yeah.
And I mean, we're moving on a bit, but you're still very good friends, and Bryn's always been an amazing, talented bugger anyway, as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
There's some good talent in all, isn't there?
There is. It's just a shame we don't always get the recognition from being in all. It's hard work.
That's the way it goes. So there's different types of bass guitar, Ben. So tell us what type you play.
So I mainly play the 4-string bass, as you can see there, fretted, although I can play fretless because I learned to play on an upright bass.
Oh, wow, the big awesome machine, yeah.
Yeah. So that was in the school jazz band. That was my first sort of gig. But yeah, 4 strings. I had a 5-string. Don't really get on with it. 4 strings, fretted bass.
I mean, I don't understand where this 5-string bass and 8-string guitar comes from.
Well, I'll tell you where the 5-string bass came in. In the 80s, as a cover, a cover musician, you were trying to cover a lot of music that had synthesized bass. And of course, the keyboard bass can go a lot lower down the register than a bass guitar. So to try and get around that, people were saying, well, you can get a 5-string bass, then you can get those low bass notes. And that's, I think, where it originated, but it wasn't really for me.
Interesting. And you like jazz, Ben, don't you?
Well, certain types of jazz. I'm not really a jazz, I'm not a jazz player, but yeah, I do like certain types, but it wouldn't be my number one genre of music.
Okay, so You joined Rio at 16. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was working at Boots, stacking dog food on the pets aisle. And the
Wow.
guy who worked there, Dave Rushby, he was playing in a band and they were called Rio. And we got talking and he said, you know, we might be needing a bass player. Do you fancy trying out for it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I went and had an audition and they offered me to join.
And that
I
band
was 16. I was 16.
was called, is it Passion Spent?
Yeah, so the idea of Rio was to raise some money as a covers band to then make some original material, you know, and get it released and then hopefully make it as an original band. And that original band was called Passion Spent.
Did playing the bass, was you a natural? Do you think you just got into it or did you have to work really hard to?
No, I just think I had a feeling for it because I never really particularly, I didn't want to be a drummer. I didn't particularly want to be a singer. You know, the guitar at that time wasn't, you know, really for me. Bryn could do that far better than I could. So bass was kind of a natural thing for me, and I've never really looked back.
I'm moving on to great pals of mine and great pals of yours, China Garden. Now,
Yeah,
I had the pleasure of working with China Garden when Bill Wright was their manager from Bankhouse.
yeah,
And I met Bill, and Bill said, would you go on tour? They're going on tour with Rolls Royce. And the first venue was the venue in London, supporting Rolls Royce. I'd never been a manager or a road manager or anything like that. And I went along, and my God, I had the best time of my life, Ben. It was just one of those shows, you know. I was talking to all the famous people, and I felt like, you know, great. But tell me, because you joined China Garden too.
yeah. Yeah, so China Garden reformed a little bit later down the line, and that was Chris Norfolk, myself on bass, Ralph Wilkie on drums, Rich Wilkie on keyboards, and Bryn on guitar. We had one or two other keyboard players as well. Steve Brown, he was with us. But yeah, so it reformed. I think we went back to Bankhouse, if memory serves, and we played a lot of gigs in the you know on the club circuit in
Yeah.
the 80s.
Was you with them when they did the David Essex and all them?
No, I think that
Okay.
was before my time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know where I went from after China Garden. I kind of probably went on doing my own thing. But the next one, again, you stayed with the right people, because then Housequake was formed.
Right. Yes.
My God, how did you keep a straight face?
Well, originally it was a straight band, Sean. You know, it was the Wilkinson brothers and Ralph and and the boys. They asked me to join, and I was playing a bass, Ralph was playing the drums, Dave was playing a guitar, Rich was playing keyboards, and we went out as a straight, a proper band. And very gradually, the sort of comedy aspect came in, and then we got Bryn in, we got Chris Norfolk in as well, and then it was the full fat version, shall we say?
I mean the antics again, Ben? I was in the van driving with them at some point, and we had Rob Watson as a roadie. I drove the horrible van that they had. You had to stand on the brakes, all the fun things. While you're driving, you got the tape around the eyes, and
Yeah,
just naturally,
it was
crazy guys. Was it like that with you?
Yeah, I mean, I ended up putting one of the vans on its side on the A1 coming back from the northeast because we had what was called the cruise control, which was actually part of a mic stand. And what you did was, if you were driving, you wedged this mic stand under the dashboard onto the accelerator pedal, and then you could have a conversation, you could have a chat, you could play cards, whatever you wanted. We came into a contraflow one night, and I thought, right, quick, knock the cruise control off. Didn't get it off in time. The van started fishtailing, and we ended up on our side, all scrambled out through the front screen. Bryn to this day has got a bad shoulder, but we were all alive. But the van was written off and the gear was written off.
What colour was the van?
I was sober. I never drank when I played, so I was the elected driver. That.
What colour was the van?
I can't remember if it was we had a blue one at one point, and then we got. Yeah, I can't remember.
I had the red and white Mercedes.
I remember that. I do remember that. Yeah, that was like a strike or something.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It was fun. There was a competition. The band would give a competition between me and Rob Watson, because I would drive and Rob would drive, and the band was always in the van, never went on their own. Who could go through the most red traffic lights coming home from the northeast?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I won, of course, but nowadays you couldn't, you
Oh,
couldn't do that with the cameras and everything.
yeah. Yeah.
Straight through the red light. There was nobody about in the morning.
I'm like
Unbelievable.
driving Miss Daisy these days. I'm the most steady driver in the world.
Well, I suppose you got to be sensible, haven't you? Let's move on. You after Housequake, you went on to Depping.
Yep. Did a lot of depping, filling in for people, some recording sessions with various people. Yeah, and just sort of keeping my hand in really until such time that a band came up that I wanted to get involved with.
You must have got great grounding, because being with all these people, talented musicians, and working with Session and Depping, your skill must have improved exponentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always say to people, I'm a musical whore. You know,
Well,
I go wherever I can and just get and I'll play so many different styles. I played classic rock, soul, disco, ska more recently, and all sorts, just to get that well-rounded sort of ability, I think.
so I don't usually ask personal questions, but have you kind of like earned a lot of money from it, had a good life, or has it just been fun and enjoyment?
It's mainly been fun and enjoyment,
Yeah,
and a few sort of hard times. But no, I've not earned a fortune, and
I
I'm
don't
never
think you
going
would.
to. But it's at times it's been kind of a second income at times, and other times it's been next to nothing.
But
Yeah,
I've been out for nothing thousands of times. It's just a passion, in it. You just do. You
yeah,
go into cruise control.
yeah,
Do this gig for a $5. Okay.
yeah. It's hard. The only way I can put it is I was probably earning in the 90s. I was probably earning similar money for a gig that I am now. Really,
Yeah.
the sad fact of it.
Yeah. You earn less now than you did in them days. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
So, 2007, you moved on to join Bad Dog. Tell us about Bad
yeah.
Dog.
Right. Yeah, around that time, I was really ready to start playing regularly again, because I'd taken a few years sort of playing less really, while I was spending a lot of time with my daughter Amelia, and I decided it was time to give it another good go. I saw an advert in the Daily Mail, a Beverley-based band looking for a bass player. I rang them up, arranged an audition, went down, and got in. And great vocalist Steph, and her husband Andy on the guitar, drummer Mike Selby at the time. And we went out and we toured all over the UK, did a farmyard party a couple of times, played at the National Motorcycle Show. Yeah, you name it, we did it all over the country.
Unbelievable. I'm going to skip a few things because I don't want this to be too long, Ben. So you
Yeah,
kind of like, then you formed More Lizzie. Now,
yeah.
are you talking about Gary Moore?
Gary Moore
Oh
and Thin
my God.
Lizzy. Yeah,
Gary Moore was my idol.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Unbelievable. So,
I saw Thin Lizzy when I was a teenager, and I was just blown away.
yeah,
Me and my brother.
I can imagine. So, who was the guitarist then for Gary Moore in your band?
So yeah, various guitarists, but to name, two or three: Mike Mahoney, Mike Lehman.
Can Mike Lehman do that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, Mike can really play and sing. So
I know he's a good
he
singer.
did all the Gary Moore stuff, and I did all the Phil Lynott stuff.
I wish I'd have seen that. Unbelievable. So then you moved on and rejoined Bad Dog. We'll skip that bit again because we
Yeah,
know about Bad Dog. And then you recording with Ron Ailes.
yeah. So I did a few live shows and some recording with Ron, and hopefully we're going to get together again soon, and do some more gigs.
Tell us, what's it like to get on with Ron? Because I've never met him, but I've heard so many good things.
Yeah, great. Ron's a great guy, and some of the stories that he can tell you from people that he's worked with, you will make your head spin. Talking people like Carlos Santana, and
Oh, Mark, really? That's
yeah.
unbelievable.
I
And
mean,
does he still live in Hull?
yeah, yes, he does. Yeah, he's still going strong, still riding a bike, still doing karate.
Same as me, 65.
Ron's a little bit older than that, and he's in good shape.
Good. So are you. You've been fit all your life, haven't you?
Thanks. I
Do you
try.
still do it? Do you still
Yeah, yeah,
go? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you look very healthy.
Thank
So
you.
from Ron, you went to join Fingersmith.
Yeah, yeah. Some guys who were based in the kind of Hornsey neck of the woods, Leven to be precise, and that's kind of a party type band covering lots of different types of music. Yeah.
And then you kind of like joined Dark Skies, who became Just DC.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. What was
Gary
that
Fox.
like?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, Dark Skies were a good, pretty well established rock band when I joined them, and then we kind of sidelined it, and Just DC came out of the ashes with Steve Adams.
Steve, yeah, great guy. Do you
Yeah,
prefer that kind of thing? Rock and noise.
I love it, but as a bass player, you don't get to kind of stand out as much playing, that kind of stuff. I do like it. I mean, I grew up on a mixture of rock and soul, really. So, it's kind of in the DNA.
I know what you mean, because being a guitarist myself, I've played bass a little bit, but I suppose when people look at rock bands like Just DC, Angus Young is the first thing they say.
Mm,
And then the singer, and
yeah,
then maybe that might talk about the drummer. Nobody hardly ever talks about the bassist.
yeah, yeah.
Crazy, isn't it? You're kind of like in the background, but you're the
You
most
really,
important part because the drums and the bass keep everything together.
yeah, and the rhythm guitar, of course, in all three. It's so important. Yeah, the Backroom Boys.
It's great. So, recording with Paul Costello, tell us about that.
Yeah, so Paul's a local singer, songwriter, guitar player, and he's been on the go for a long time. Good friend of mine, and he gets some really good people involved. Gary Gilliott, Jeff Parsons, just to name a couple. But yeah, I've done some nice stuff with Paul, and I think we've got another one to do shortly. So yeah.
Awesome. Such a talented man. And finally coming back onto you now with Fingersmith and Scarred Up.
Yeah,
What a
so
difference. Difference of,
yeah, it's fun though. Scarred Up is fun.
yeah.
The sax player from Fingersmith had joined this ska band, and their bass player was kind of due to retire because he's even older than I am. And they asked me if I wanted to get involved. So I've literally played one gig with them so far. It's great fun, and looking forward to some more.
I mean, you look at the success that Badness have had. 30
Yeah,
years they've been going.
yeah, and he's an old school pal of mine, Mike Watts.
Is he?
Yeah,
Now, I've asked Mike if he'll come on here because Jamie Moore was with them at one time. Is that correct?
yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, Jamie Moore, I think he plays all sorts of instruments. He's from Hull as well. And so Scarred Up, you're already guaranteed a good audience because everybody loves that type of music.
Yeah, I've
I
never
don't know.
played in an out and out ska band before, but yeah, it seems that way.
So Fingersmith and Scarred Up, which do you prefer? Good question, I suppose.
Early days with Scarred Up, so we'll see. The jury's out
Yeah.
for now. I can't say because I've only played one gig.
Do you think you'll get more? I mean, Ben, you're settled down. You're a family man. You absolutely idolise your daughter. I've seen you on Facebook, and you've got love hearts coming out your eyes, which is lovely as a father. Does family life take precedent now than you travelling up and down the country?
No, not really, because Amelia is going to be 30 this year. She lives in
Wow,
Denmark,
my God!
so she's all grown up. So yeah, I've got myself and my fiancée Laura to consider, and that's it. So but I don't want to be travelling like I used to. If it can be closer to home, I'm
Yeah.
happy with that.
So the kind of like music side of it is your passion, fun, and enjoyment. Do you still do your personal trainer as an employment side?
Yeah, so self-employed. Yeah, so that's
You
my.
must have built up a great client base now.
I don't have that many, but I've got some that I've looked after for years and years, like 15, 20 years. So I'm very thankful for that, you know. And I kind of work as much as I want to. I could probably work a little bit more, but yeah.
I think it's work-life balance nowadays at our
It is, yeah,
age.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I keep telling myself I'm semi-retired.
but you never are with music; it never stops. So, just I know we never know what our future is. If you was to be granted one thing in the music business, would you like to write your own stuff and have it out there, or would you just like to carry on as you are?
I'm not hankering after writing a bestseller or anything. I'm happy to contribute my parts to somebody else's original. That satisfies the creative thing in me. You know, if I can write the bass part and if it works and they're happy with it, that's as far as my kind of writing side of things go. Yeah.
Well, what a great way to end the show because, like you say, a true musician, a professional musician, a real musician, and he's from Hull, like most of the people I've had on here so far. Ben, it's just been a great pleasure talking to you. We've never had a chat like this. These
Not in the,
things bring out the best of us. And I suppose a lot of people who know you, Ben, probably don't know the history that you've had. And from this, they will see that, the podcast, they'll have the
yeah,
videos and everything on it. So,
no, I really enjoyed it.
Ben, it's been fantastic talking to you again. And let's keep in touch. Last word
Absolutely.
from you.
Hey, play with conviction and enjoy it.
What better words from such a professional?
Thanks. Cheers.